Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. 4 people have lost their lives and at least 200 have been injured in the violence that ravaged Leh yesterday. So far, at least 40 people have been arrested. But as the Union Territory counts the losses from the ashes of the charred debris of public property set on fire yesterday, emerged some compelling questions. Why did things go out of hand yesterday? The hunger strike that Sonam Wangchuk ended after violence had started 14 days ago on September 10th. The next round of talks was scheduled for the 6th of October. In fact, the Home Ministry has said that meetings were also planned with the leaders from Ladakh on the 25th and 26th of September, which is today and tomorrow. BJP also claims that president of a Ladakhi body confirmed that he was headed to Delhi for talks tomorrow. The timing clearly defies logic. Listen in to what happened. The timing clearly defies logic. Then comes the next question. Who was behind the breakdown? Here are the 2 names that have been blamed by the BJP so far. Activist Sonam Wangchuk himself and Congress councillor Stanzin Sipal. BJP says that Congress councillor for Upper Leh ward instigated the mob and participated in the violence that targeted the BJP office. Now, while Stanzin has denied the claims, why is it that we haven't seen the senior Congress leadership reject the BJP's charges outright? On the other hand, the Saffron Party has cited multiple instances accusing Sonam Wangchuk of trying to provoke the people of Ladakh into resorting to violence.
NewsHour Debate Nepal la yung stereoto, Bangladesh la yung stereoto, Sri Lanka yung stereoto, niyon se yurja kyo anok tene, chik chik China tene kyo anok samara reale, mir devate ho.
The Ministry of Home Affairs has unequivocally said that it is clear that the mob was in fact incited by Wangchuk through his provocative statements. The news is also tightening around him, with centre cancelling the foreign funding license of his NGO. Sources have also said that the investigation had flagged serious financial irregularities in the functioning of his non-profit, including repeat violations of the Foreign Contribution Regulation Act. The charge is that he was taking money to organize events on the sovereignty of India. The action comes shortly after the CBI launched an inquiry into alleged violations. Now, he has also been named as one of the accused in FIR filed by Ladakh police for the violence. Amidst mounting woes, Wangchuk, however, is not only giving himself a clean chit, but also defending the Congress party.
कुछ लोग सोचते हैं कि ये हमारे समर्थक थे. मैं कहूँगा हमारे समर्थक से ज़्यादा, हालांकि समर्थक पूरा लद्दाख है इस मुद्दे पर लद्दाख के, मगर ये युवा पीढ़ी का बड़ास था, एक तरह का जेन ज़ी रेवोल्यूशन जो कि उनको सड़कों पे लाया. कि ये रास्ता मेरा दिखाया हुआ नहीं है, ये उनके बड़ास का एक परिणाम है, मगर ये बड़ास निकालने का समय नहीं है. देरी हुई और जो लोग अस्पताल में पहुंचे उनमें से एक कांग्रेस के काउंसिलर भी थे, मगर उनका बड़ास ये था कि उनके ही गांव के ये दोनों लोग थे जो अस्पताल पहुंचे, उनके गांव के ही लोग थे, तो वो बहुत गुस्से में बोल रहे थे. मगर मेरे ख्याल से कांग्रेस का ऐसा पकड़ कुछ भी नहीं है लद्दाख में कि उनके वजह से 5000 यूथ बाहर सड़क पे आ जाए।
Wangchuk's effort to distance Congress are being countered by the BJP. The party has cited a press conference addressed by Congress leaders where its councillor Dorje Norbu declared, and I quote, "You may deploy thousands or even lakhs of CRPF personnel and register FIRs against me, but I will still go to the BJP office. I will lead the stone pelting. I will enter their office and throw stones at them." And then put out a picture of him near the BJP head office in Leh, allegedly moments before it was set on fire. But the opposition parties are putting the blame solely on the ruling party in the center.
कांग्रेस को इल्जाम दोगे तो हट जाओ ना कुर्सी से, हम संभाल लेंगे, हम देख लेंगे, हम अमन चैन कायम कर लेंगे।
ऐसा है कि यहाँ जो कुछ होगा ना वो सब कांग्रेस पार्टी कर रही है, मोदी जी कुछ नहीं कर रहे हैं, मोदी जी सिर्फ आरोप लगाने बैठे हैं, सब उल्टा कर रहे हैं। वो ऐसा नहीं है कि सिर्फ आप जो है आप आरोप कांग्रेस पे करते हैं। कांग्रेस अगर आंदोलन कर रही है तो आंदोलन करना कोई गलत चीज नहीं है।
बातचीत का रास्ता जल्दी से इख्तियार कीजिए, इंतजार न कीजिए कि फिर से इसमें चिंगारी लग जाए। जब भी यहाँ कुछ होता था कहते ये बाहर से आ रहा है, बाहर से नहीं है, ये वहां के लोगों की आवाज है, दिलों की आवाज है। वो अब ज्यादा इंतजार नहीं करेंगे। हमने न कभी पत्थर उठाए न बम चलाए, बल्कि कुर्बानियां दी, मगर वैसा रास्ता इस्तेमाल नहीं किया। मगर कल क्या होगा, हमारे बच्चे क्या करेंगे, उसका मैं कुछ नहीं कह सकता।
अगर आपने कहा है और जेन जी सड़क पर है तो आप उनको गुनहगार क्यों ठहरा रहे हो, उनके ऊपर क्यों गोली चला रहे हो? ये भारत के सीमावर्ती राज्य है, खास करके चाइना बॉर्डर है। वहां की युवाओं को आप शांत नहीं कर सकते, उनका आप समाधान नहीं कर सकते। आप काहे के विश्वगुरु, काहे के? जनता आक्रामक है, जनता के मन में असंतोष है तो बाहर आ जाएगा। आप उनको दबा नहीं सकते, गोली नहीं चला सकते।
You have heard about the Congress link. You've heard about the Gen Z link. Foreign funding is already under the scanner. And now let's tell you about the Nepal link. Of the 40 people arrested, 2 are Nepali citizens. 3 Nepalese nationals have also been injured in the protest. Sources telling Times now that the 2 Nepalese nationals even attacking the police are caught on video. So ladies and gentlemen, we are asking the legitimate question on the NewsHour tonight. Gen Z Nepal Congress links to Leh violence. Coincidence or conspiracy? That's the question, and that's the debate on the other side.
You're watching the NewsHour at 9. Debate number 1 on Times Now. Super Prime Time.
Joining the debate tonight, Siddharth Yadav, national spokesperson of the BJP, Ishkaran Bhandari, advocate in the Supreme Court, Tushar Gupta, political analyst, Faizan Kidwai, national spokesperson of the Samajwadi Party, Somnath Bharti, former law minister and tourism and culture minister as well, leader of the Aam Aadmi Party, Vivek Srivastava, political analyst. But my first question goes to Congress leader Sanjay Jha. And Sanjay Jha, my question is straight off the bat. What are people from the Congress party doing there, saying that it is their right to pelt stones at the BJP office, and that, however, lakhs of CRPF jeeps cannot prevent them from doing so? Whoever wants to arrest them should arrest them. Is this something that the Congress National Party approves of? And is it a fact that another of your leaders, who is seen in pictures, is now underground? Is this really an experiment? Nepal and Bangladesh and Sri Lanka, does it seem like a joke to you that we will use those experiments in India? Look at the status of those countries. Do you really want India to burn with the same experiment that is being tried in our neighborhood?
Navika, good evening to you and to my fellow panelists. I think this is a very sensitive issue because it is in a border space of our with China. It is a very sensitive subject, and I think we should treat it with a great deal of gravitas. Let me make a couple of points. I think in your entire introduction, you missed the most fundamental point that is important to this debate. Number one, that these protests have been happening for a long time. I mean, Sonam, Wangchuk and the entire conversation that he's been doing, he's protested, he's come to Delhi, and there have been a lot of, talks about how to get unemployment problems sorted out in Ladakh. The numbers are very, very disconcerting. I saw the report. Around 22% of the young in Ladakh are unemployed. And that's a massive number. It's much higher than the national average that we have. Secondly, and this is very important, that the BJP in its own manifesto talked about how to basically empower the tribal community. They have forgotten their own manifesto, like they forgot about those 15 lakh in everybody's bank account and 2 crore jobs. Today, what is the principal demand of Mr. Wangchuk? Which is to say that, listen, we need to take care of the tribals. And he's talking about the 6th schedule. What is the 6th schedule all about? It's about empowering the entire tribal community. And I was not aware of it long ago myself, but Ladakh has around 85 to 90% of the population is tribal. So if there is a call to make the majority of the people of Ladakh empowered, why should it bother the government? They should be in a hurry to get it done. In fact, if you promised it in your manifesto, the bigger issue is not the politics behind it at all. I think, Navika, the message from the Modi government is really that they are so authoritarian in their predilections that they don't want to hear a voice that challenges their authority. We have seen what happened in Manipur over 2 years.
Well, Sanjay sir, that can be said about any government in power, including you. You're not in power, but you're authoritarian because you will boycott whoever you want to boycott and still call it a democracy. So please, those preachings and those teachings can be avoided for the moment. But let me ask Siddharth Yadav. Siddharth Yadav, one thing is for sure. The Congress party has been saying that there will be a Gen Z uprising. And if you think the Congress party is involved in this conspiracy, what were you waiting for? You knew it. These provocative statements have been made by Mr. Rahul Gandhi. Then what was the government doing in Ladakh? What were you doing in Leh? Is a legitimate question that will be asked. Why were you waiting up until now to cancel the FCRA funding of the NGOs of Sonam Wangchuk? Really? You needed 4 people to die and 200 to be injured before you woke up and smelled the coffee? And number 3, I also want to ask you that if there was such a conspiracy on, why did we allow it to happen? These are legitimate questions which will be asked, even if we know that the opposition parties who cannot defeat the Prime Minister on the electoral ground are using these kind of tactics to somehow incite violence. Yet the responsibility will always be at your doorstep.
Navika, there is no denial that such questions would be asked, and the responsibility always lies on the government at hand. But what has to be understood is that we don't even know that how much of such conspiracies by the opposition today and all such notorious elements have already been prevented by the government. We have seen what is happening in Bangladesh, we have seen what is happening in Sri Lanka, we have seen what is happening in Nepal. Should we not be thinking that these were not the attempts in India? Definitely these were the attempts. But what is the larger question today is that in a democratic country and in the largest, most flourishing democracy in the world, the leader of opposition and the entire opposition party today supports violence? Is that what the Constitution teaches us? Can we or can anybody who works in this political spectrum, in this political space, works amongst the people of this country, come out and say that this was justified? Are you justifying anarchy? Are you justifying arson? Are you justifying people who have political motives coming on the streets and burning the Hill Council, burning BJP office, or for that matter any political office? This is not Indian democracy, and this is not safe for Indian democracy. That has to be understood. It is Rahul Gandhi and his party which works on the funda of Bharat Tere Tukde Honge, who sits with George Soros, who knows that we cannot win in the eyes of the people, we cannot gather support from the people, and that is why we have to come to a point where we bring anarchy in this country. That's the reality. What are you justifying? The talks were already going on.
Fair
what
point.
Authoritarian government are you speaking of?
Fair point.
Government which is, if a
Navika,
government,
for 2 years, what was the central government doing?
high power committee
When?
led by a
What
MOS,
happened over 2
led by
years
an
ago?
MOS. Nityanand Rai ji
That's the question
is in consultation and speaking to all the people who are there, and so many of issues have been resolved. The next meeting is fixed up. Who gives you the right to burn Ladakh?
Absolutely. And Sanjay Jha, you will have to be answering that question. For 60 years, there has been a movement in Ladakh for a union territory status. You know, it's very rich coming from the Congress party. कि आप उन्हें statehood नहीं दे रहे. They were given and recognized as a union territory only when this government came in and Article 370 was implemented. I want to ask you, what are you raising questions all about? And Farooq Abdullah, who welcomed, his party welcomed. There are tweets of Omar Abdullah from that time. There are tweets of Sonam Wangchuk from 2019 saying that we welcome the union territory status that has been given and the recognition that has been given to the people of Ladakh. Today suddenly Dil Mange more, and you're trying to justify that, and you're justifying Sonam Wangchuk's statement which said that Arab Springs like revolution should be brought in here. Are you justifying that?
And Navika, I think what you are saying on the channel is incomplete. Sonam Wangchuk has actually cancelled his fast. His words are that I'm pained at the violence that has happened. Nobody in their right senses would ever condone any violence.
My friend, when the violence happened, he packed his bags, broke his fast, caught an ambulance and ran away to his village, my friend.
Like in Manipur.
That's what cowards do when the situation, when the fire that they light gets out of control. That's what cowards do. And Sanjay Jha, you're trying to make him into a hero today when 4 people have died and 200 people have been injured. But
Navika,
no.
Navika, the government has a responsibility like they had in Manipur and they failed. They should be careful here.
What's your responsibility as the opposition? To incite people?
What is
Your responsibility is to incite people by saying there will be Gen Z-like protests and let me get in Somnath Bharti. Exactly what his leader is saying today. He's been out of circulation because not really relevant in Bihar elections or here or there. So suddenly he finds something to latch on to and says, आज तो वहां हुआ है, अब कहां बहुत जगह में होगा. Somnath Bharti, is that a responsible statement to say, or is it an insightful statement to say? I want to ask you this. You're a man of law. You've been a law minister. Today, don't speak like a politician only. Please speak like an Indian tonight and say who's behaving irresponsibly. The government has to answer questions, but is there no responsibility on those who are instigating?
Navika ji, Aam Aadmi Party, Arvind Kejriwal, Somnath Bharti, all of us condemn any kind of violence. No violence is to be allowed, no violence is to be sort of promoted, okay, supported. See, violence doesn't have, violence is very easy to be curbed. And the moment you do violence, government get a chance the way they got a chance now. So had it been since last 6 years, there were peaceful protests led by Sonam Wangchuk. And there are 3 demands. Demand number 1, full statehood of Leh Ladakh. Demand number 2, 6th schedule, Ladakh to be included there. Demand number 3, to China be lost around 2,000 square kilometers. That land has to be brought back to India. Indian soldiers, Indian army cannot get to patrol points number 10, number 11A, number 11, number 12, number 13. There are 5 patrol points which have gone beyond jurisdiction of Indian army. Can you imagine? When we lost 2,000 square kilometers to China, who is responsible? May 2020, this happened. And the government is not even acknowledging that. Does the government have the guts to show the 2 maps prior to 2020 and now? They don't have. But violence is not the way. Number 2, see, my leader has not said the violence is the root. My leader has said the youth are demanding answers. How long? You have been in government for 11 long years. You need to have solutions of their problems. They want jobs.
And you
There are so many.
You as the opposition only should have problems for every solution. That is your mandate.
People are spoiling their careers after careers.
Well, that is...
People are losing hopes.
Navika, short reply, 10 seconds.
One second, Navika ji, 1 second. You, please permit me to complete my statement. Then possibly Siddharth ji can respond to that. What I'm saying, today's youth, look at the Uttarakhand, what is happening there. Across the country, youth has reached the boiling point now. And it was the government's duty, the people who are in power, they had sown dreams after dreams, 2 crore jobs a year, you know, the double-digit growth, etc., etc. What happened? Nothing happened.
All right.
So
Siddharth Yadav, please respond. Siddharth Yadav, please respond before I get in Ishkaran. Siddharth.
Navika ji, the only demand the people of Leh and Ladakh had for 70 years were to have a union territory and come out of this Congress party, the Abdullahs, the Muftis, and have a union territory. And that was the aspiration. For 70 years, this opposition and Congress party could not give this. And once all these aspirations were fulfilled by the Bharatiya Janata Party, you have to sit here and teach us, tutor us on the aspirations. What aspirations do you speak of? It was the people of Leh and Ladakh whose aspirations were heard. The union territory was granted. And you are justifying their violence for no reason. Whatever all aspirations are there, 2 languages were included in the schedule. The recruitment for youth was started. 1/3 reservation for women was given. Everything is being given. And now on the blueprints of the Congress party, you want to call it a Gen Z protest? What kind of Gen Z protest? It is a Congress party orchestrated protest because they fail in the court of the people. They can't justify it, they can't appease the people of the country, and that is why they want to anarchy, they want to break the country. That's the reality, nothing else.
Well, I want to ask Ishkaran Bhandari, can the BJP say that and get away with it, Ishkaran Bhandari? The Congress party, the Gen Z, has become the new buzzword for the opposition. The Aam Aadmi Party uses it, Arvind Kejriwal uses it, Rahul Gandhi uses it. Everybody is using the Gen Z buzzword. But can we only blame the Congress party, Ishkaran Bhandari? Where do you think the root of this problem lies?
Navika ji, let's go to the root. How does the word Gen Z come in Indian lexicon? You remember a time back there was this word intolerance, in which the Hindi meaning people had hardly heard, but suddenly intolerance, ashinta became the buzzword for a few years because that was agenda. How does Gen Z come as agenda? When was it before Nepal that you heard the word Gen Z in context of a political protest? The reality is that there is glee and there is hope in an entire ecosystem that the political violence in Myanmar, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, Nepal, which led to the blood of Gen Z boiling and blood being split to have a regime change, comes to India. I challenge anybody to find tweets or political statements on Gen Z will rise up. Not youth, Gen Z will rise up. So how do these code words come in? Because of what happened in Nepal. Because there are people who believe they cannot win elections, they cannot win a mandate. Our youth is very patriotic, very nationalist. It has a larger perspective. It knows what development is happening, what is happening in economy. The Gen Z protest was against nepotism, against corruption, against politicians' sons flying abroad, living abroad and life of fancy, and getting advantages time after time because they are dynasty kids, nepo kids. Which family, which political parties does that apply the most in India? So the problem herein is, and we come to the case of Ladakh also, Ladakh was agitating against the Kashmir Valley domination, which was the problem of entire Jammu Kashmir, how resources are being concentrated. After 70 years, Ladakh gets in its way its independence. It's segregated as an administrative unit from Jammu and Kashmir. Instead of that leading to development and happiness, suddenly we have a further demand. We have a new demand. They got more than they had gotten in 70 years, but this demand has come. No problem with demands also, as long as they are peaceful. But when you link those demands with the Gen Z violence in Nepal, when you link it with how Bangladesh happened, and you try to overthrow the state, burn offices of politicians. What happened in Nepal? A prime minister's wife was injured, burnt, I think.
finance ministers. Absolutely, and that is the pattern that is being replicated, and the presence of Nepalese on the ground.
Last line, Navika ji, just last line, yes. And you have foreign elements found and arrested on the ground. It is a major security threat and needs to be crushed. Anybody supporting it gleefully in TV studios or in a bhashan or in Ladakh needs to be jailed.
Absolutely, and I want to ask Vivek Srivastava. Vivek Srivastava, do you want to support the statements of Sonam Wangchuk, who sat there and preached about the Arab Springs revolution? Really? Now the opposition is going to say कि इनसे बात करो, इनकी demand सुनो. 70 years they looked for their identity, and the governments that were in power never raised the issue. Neither Farooq Abdullah, nor the PDP, not the National Conference, not the Congress Party. The first time the demand was made by a Congress MP from Ladakh for a union territory status of Ladakh. Do you know in which year? 1955. Now go think about that. 1955, a Congress MP from Ladakh demanding union territory status. When was it given? 2019. Today you are saying anybody who creates an insightful situation, violence, and then packs up his bags and runs away from the spot is the man with whom we should negotiate and talk and listen to his demands?
Now let me speak. You can keep on saying whatever you want, 1955, Congress ne nahi kiya, Farooq Abdullah ne nahi kiya, it's not going to matter. People of Leh, people of Ladakh don't like the BJP, they don't like your rule, they do not like the Prime Minister, and they do not like the promises of 2020 in the BJP manifesto, you know, the 20th schedule. So, they need to talk of it in 2020, what they promised.
The talks were on. The talks were on, my friend.
No, talks were on after May. When was the talk? When was the major talk?
September 25th, 26th. They were scheduled. October 6th, they were scheduled. आग किसने लगाई? आग किसने लगाई? आग किसने लगाई और आग में घी डालने का काम किसने किया?
Listen to me. You had the Telangana movement. Andhra Pradesh broke. Telangana was created. You had the joint Bihar. It broke. Jharkhand was created. You had Uttarakhand. It was created from UP. And there were violent agitations every time. People came up, people said we wander the state.
My God! You are normalizing this and saying that they were violent, violent agitations, and you are normalizing. Is this the new normal you are creating? You are promoting violence on national television, saying it is a legitimate way of putting across your demand. I am shocked. You know, Vivek Srivastava, that is why I called you the king of anarchy. Yes. The king of anarchists is who you are. Unmasked today on national television. An anarchist sitting, I really don't know, on national television and promoting and justifying violence as a legitimate means of getting... I'm sorry, Vivek Srivastava, in my dictionary, what you said only means one thing. I'm getting in Tushar Gupta. I'm coming to you, Ishkaran Bhandari. But Ishkaran, okay, before I get in, Ishkaran, should he be booked? Should he be booked? Is there a legal case?
Just 10 seconds.
I need to speak. I have not spoken properly. You're not letting me speak.
No, freedom of speech has its boundaries, but...
I need to come in. No, this is very important.
Yes, Ishkaran.
This is very important.
Yes, Ishkaran.
This is very happening. This is very important. Navika ji, Naxal violence, terrorism may have been crushed by the government, but Naxal thought lives on national television. That is what Vivek Srivastava is doing. Nothing but saying people don't like BJP government, people don't like, 1 second, don't interrupt. This is important. You are preaching Naxal violence on television, which is absolutely wrong. And Navika ji, I need to finish my point. Vivek, you just said, 1 second, you just said people do not like BJP. Means you go burn BJP offices. Means you go kill BJP workers. Means you go kill BJP politicians. People don't like BJP, so you go and burn BJP offices. If they don't like it, it is not your opinion. If people do not like BJP, they will go vote BJP out. How do you justify? Vivek, have some shame. End of the day, have some shame. Everything is not about shouting. You can't justify burning of BJP offices by saying that people do not like BJP. Do not tweet violence. Do not justify violence. This is like saying,
is this even a legitimate argument? People don't like the BJP. Well, if they don't like the BJP, there will be elections and people can vote them out. So, Tushar Gupta, are we now getting a new blueprint where Mr. Rahul Gandhi says vote chori? Because they can't defeat Prime Minister Modi in legitimate electoral battles. There they can't defeat him. So now they will say election commission is compromised. I will not go to the courts. The opposition will get together and say people don't like the BJP, but vote chori is happening. So we have to then start promoting violence and we have to start promoting this kind of anarchy.
Absolutely. Navika, you are spot on. The national toolkit is to encourage anarchy and methods that demean the institutions, dilute the importance of the institutions. But right now, a new political toolkit is in play which wants to draw a false equivalence between Ladakh and Manipur. These are two very, very different problems, and Ladakh has a problem of its own. Now let's come to Sonam Wangchuk. My first question is, when did he become the self-proclaimed representative of the people of Ladakh? This is a man who in his climate fast last year was saying that there might be mutiny within the Indian army because the Sikh soldiers are disoriented, because the Gurkhas are unhappy, because the Ladakh scouts are unhappy. This is a man who says that if this protest has to continue, we might let the Chinese in the next time. He cites a comedian saying that the video is pretty much there for everyone to see. This is a man who in every video of his, every single video, invokes the Ladakh scouts and how they are indispensable to the defense of Ladakh and India as a whole. And he makes this argument that, oh, if this continues, you may not know what happens with the Ladakh scouts. This man is looking for trouble. When did he become the representative of the people of Ladakh? And also, Navika, one question no one is asking. It's a high altitude, cold, barren desert, low precipitation, low vegetation. What ecology is he talking about? In every video he says, my fight is against the industry lobby that might come into Ladakh. My fight is against infrastructure that might happen at a rapid pace. Why don't we encourage the idea of infrastructure in Ladakh? Are we going to be sitting here and play ignorant as to what kind of infrastructure is being built in POK and on the Chinese side, on the other side of LAC? If the government today wants to build infrastructure in Ladakh, why do some lobbies have a problem? And Navika, remember, in 2013, the legacy of the UPA was undeveloped borders are safer borders. This is the legacy the Modi government has inherited. Now, if they are changing it, there is a lobby in play.
Well, absolutely, there is a lobby in play because the same Omar Abdullah who today is talking about, statehood, actually supported union territory status for Ladakh. But Faizan Kidwai, I want to ask you. Are we now going to justify the violent means of getting yourself heard as well as negotiations? Is this what we are justifying? Is this what we are justifying, that the leaders of the Congress party found in various videos as alleged by the BJP were kosher when they said CRPF jeeps should be burnt and I will still go and do the stone pelting? Are we now going to normalize all of this because people don't like BJP? This is what they should do?
Good evening, Navika. First of all, the violence in Ladakh is unfortunate. I hope that it doesn't continue to burn like Manipur did for so many months before the government finally decided to respond.
Brought under control at 4 p.m. yesterday, in case you missed.
Yes, please let me complete. Please, no, I didn't miss anything, Navika, but please don't get worked up because I'm going to question Bharatiya Janata Party. Okay, so you're talking about certain videos. There were a lot of videos which surfaced after the Gujarat riots happened. There's Babu Bajrangi, Ramesh Dave, Harish Bhatt. They're all on camera. It's still available on YouTube, guys. You can go and see, where they are clearly saying Narendra Modi gave them a free hand. Then there are videos of Kapil Mishra, Anurag Thakur, Pravesh Rana, during the Delhi riots, where they are clearly inciting violence against the minorities. Even the Delhi court's recent verdict about Delhi riots says that police gave fabricated evidence in 93 out of 97 cases. So let's not talk about videos. If you do, then even discuss this thing. See, what is happening in Ladakh is really very unfortunate, but we should remember a few things. That there are a lot of protests that are happening, protests from the youth to the army veterans when it comes to Agnipath, again the Agnipath scheme. There are protests against Bharatiya Janata Party in Assam. There are protests in Uttarakhand against the paper leaks with Dhami. Instead of addressing that, he calls it Nakal Jihad. This is the level of Bharatiya Janata Party people. When you protest, they start accusing you and abusing you. See, Navika, majority of these protests remain peaceful until and unless BJP police lathi charges them and the BJP toolkit defames them by labeling them jihadis, khalistanis and urban Naxals. I'll draw your attention to this point, Navika. In 2019 Lok Sabha, don't interject in between please, I didn't. In 2019 Lok Sabha and the 2020 Ladakh Hill Council poll manifesto of Bharatiya Janata Party, they have explicitly promised that they'll include a Ladakh in the 6th schedule and will give more autonomy to the state, which hinted at giving them a complete statehood. And what happened? BJP won the council polls. Then what happens in 2024? BJP Lok Sabha candidate Taishi Galson, he echoes the same sentiments. In March 2024, Amit Shah betrayed Ladakhis like he betrayed the farmers of C2 plus 50% MSP promise. And as per there's one individual, his name is Mr. Kargili of Kargil Democratic Alliance. He says Amit Shah told him that even if Modi suggested considering Schedule 6, he will not agree to it. So this is the character of Bharatiya Janata Party. Protesters were protesting since 10th of September. Narendra Modi, why you have to wait till October 6th? Why can't you meet them earlier? Just like you did. No, Navika, let me complete this point. No,
so you want to dictate the timeline. You want to dictate the timeline sitting in Uttar Pradesh on when the Prime Minister should do what and when the Home Minister should do what?
Navika, please, let me make this point. See, in earlier when there were Hill Council protests before the Hill Council elections, then Mr. Narendra Modi sent chartered flights to ferry those local leaders so that the situation can be salvaged, because he wanted to win the elections. He didn't wait for 2-3 days, but today there are no elections. Narendra Modi, maybe he doesn't care. He doesn't care for the people, and that exposes the corrupt, inhuman, dictatorial mindset of Narendra Modi.
Valiant attempt, Faizan Kidwai, on completely muddying the waters and not answering the question of violence instigation. नहीं, आपके one more नहीं, आपके तो 100 more चीजें याद आएंगी आपको तो मैं पूरा टाइम दे दूं तो कम पड़ेगा. लेकिन but Siddharth Yadav, there are several Faizan Kidwai, you know, this is not a 3-hour movie that I'm making. This is a debate show with limited time. I can't give you more time. Siddharth Yadav, please respond to the charges made by Faizan Kidwai.
Navika, first of all, I am glad to share to all your viewers that Sonam Wangchuk's NGOs FCRA license has been cancelled. A CBI inquiry is ongoing, and all the allegations that are against him and all the misappropriations that the NGO has been doing, everything is going to be accounted for. Number two, your viewers must also know the reality and the history behind Sonam Wangchuk and his NGO. I have a letter with me, which is a letter from the district collector of Leh from 2007. This was submitted in the court. We were not in power then. I will just read out 2 lines from this letter. It was addressed to Sonam Wangchuk. In the recent past, there has been following serious allegations against you. You have been demoralizing government staff. You have been illegally occupying 200 canals of land without paying to the government. You have been misusing provisions of Foreign Contributions Act. You have been anti-national connections in China and other places. This is the reality. This is the entire letter.
Well, reality, Siddharth Yadav, I'm sorry, I'm not convinced. If you're telling me that the FCRA violations have now been suddenly seen on the 25th of September, my question to you will still be, अब तक क्या कर रहे थे मेरे भाई? किसका इंतजार था? 4 लोगों के मरने का कि 200 लोगों के इंजर होने का? And question number 2, if you're talking about the 2007 letter, then my friend, you've been in power since 2014. Why wait 11 years before you realize Sonam Wangchuk is not a guy you can bet on? Why is action being taken and FIR being registered today when things have gone out of hand, my friend? That question will remain. Yes, the opposition is using a toolkit, but I'm sorry, my friend Siddharth Yadav, you cannot run away from responsibility and accountability. We will continue to ask the question, why wake up now? Why not earlier? Until you have an answer to that one, clearly this is an issue that we will continue to raise. We leave it at that. Thank you very much to all my panelists for joining me on debate number 1.